Well, shift focus to a story that we have been tracking very closely. It's the hearing that's taking place in the Calcutta High Court. They've reserved the order that could be coming out in a short while from now. Republic has now accessed full details of the case, and let's also tell you what is it that the Enforcement Directorate had to tell the court. Massive allegation has now been levelled against West Bengal Minister Partha. In fact, the Enforcement Directorate says that there was an attempt that was made by Partha to threaten Enforcement Directorate officials. Not just that, the Enforcement Directorate has also informed the court is that there are reports suggesting that Partha could have manipulated his medical records and got himself admitted. That's the latest details that we're getting in right now with regards to the investigation. The Enforcement Directorate says that the recoveries that have been made so far from Partha's residence as well as Orpita's residence go on to basically indicate that this was a well-oiled mechanism that was in place. In fact, this entire scam that was perpetrated by none other than the minister and several others who have also come under the scanner. We have our reporters on the ground to get us more details of what's really happening in terms of the investigation, because earlier Partha was sent to 2 days of Enforcement Directorate's custody, but what's really transpired is that he's effectively been in a hospital, and that is the reason why perhaps the Enforcement Directorate could not even question him. Let me bring in my colleagues who are joining us from Kolkata. Priyanka as well as Bhaskar, who's joining us. Priyanka, I'll come to you first. You've been tracking this story very closely. It appears that the Enforcement Directorate hasn't been able to question Partha, but they are also levelling a massive charge. The charge being that there is a possibility that the minister could have manipulated the health records. Let's not forget there have been in the past several other Trinamool Congress leaders who have come under the scanner of the central agencies, and they've essentially taken refuge of one particular hospital. Is there anything more that you're picking up?
Well, that's right, Shravan. In fact, we have seen marathon hearings yesterday and today as well with respect to the remand that had been sought for by Partha Chatterjee. And today, of course, his close aide, Arpita Mukherjee, also under the scanner, and she has also been produced before the court, for which 1 day of remand has been given to the Enforcement Directorate. And of course, the investigation will go on further on this as well. But in the meantime, we are also seeing how the developments are taking place with respect to Partha Chatterjee, who had also been complaining of medical issues, of chest pain. And that is why the Enforcement Directorate has also appealed to the Calcutta High Court for his further remand as well. That will be decided tomorrow in the PMLA court. But as of now, we are seeing the investigation also continuing, Shravan, because this is not just about Partha Chatterjee or Arpita Mukherjee, but there are several names that are under the scanner of the Enforcement Directorate, and those names are coming to the front, and they will also be investigated. They might also be called and then be interrogated, but that will be down the line after they have carried out the interrogation of Partha Chatterjee and his close aide, Arpita Mukherjee as well. Because remember, these are the people from whose houses there had been 20 phones that had been recovered, 20 crore rupees of cash that had also been recovered. Other than that, of course, gold that had been recovered, the insignia of West Bengal government on these documents that had also been recovered. So all of that will be under the scanner of the Enforcement Directorate. But in the meantime, Shravan, we are also hearing of how Partha Chatterjee had been making frantic phone calls to Mamata Banerjee, and of course how he had also threatened the ED officials that had been to his place, that had gone to his place to carry out the raid as well. And that is when we had seen these kind of source-based information that we had gotten, that Partha Chatterjee in fact is not cooperating with the Enforcement Directorate officials, and that was one of the main reasons why Enforcement Directorate had to in fact arrest Partha Chatterjee as well. So all of that is under the scanner right now, and but we are seeing the kind of developments taking place with respect to the remand of Partha Chatterjee, because these are source-based information that we have gotten, Shravan, as you were also pointing out earlier, that Partha Chatterjee had been, making frantic calls to Mamata Banerjee. There had been threatening, statements that had been made to the Enforcement Directorate officials. Apart from that, of course, we are seeing how the ED is conducting their raids, the ED is conducting their investigation. on not just Partha Chatterjee and Arpita Banerjee, but of course the entire nexus that had been at play. But these two people had been at the epicenter of it, and that is why the remand will be sought for. Now, one day has been given for Arpita Banerjee, and tomorrow both of the accused, that is Partha Chatterjee and Arpita, will have to be produced before the PMLA court so that further remand can be decided upon by Shravan.
That also brings to another exclusive. We are given to understand that there has been a massive divide. What divide are we really talking about? The divide within the Trinamool Congress about what sort of action should have been taken against Partha. On this, I'll also bring in my colleague Bhaskar. Bhaskar, just walk us through the details that you're picking up. A news break by our sister channel Republic Bangla with regards to the divide within the party. Some say that action should have already been taken. At the end of the day, we are talking about some very serious charges against one of the senior most members of the party. But there is also a section who's saying that why take action and fall into the trap of the BJP? What is it that you are picking up?
Absolutely, Shravan. The Trinamool Congress is clearly divided into two fractions. One of them is clearly stating that stern action should be taken immediately against Partha Chatterjee and he should be punished. He should be punished to ensure the Trinamool Congress party's claim that they do not support this kind of things. But on the other hand, as you were saying that, on the other hand, the other fraction is saying that don't take any steps right now because this can be a trap of BJP. So the Trinamool Congress, Shravan, one thing, Trinamool Congress already claimed that the money recovered by ED, at least 21 crore, the money recovered by ED has nothing to do with the Trinamool Congress, and the lady, the close aide of Partha Chatterjee, Arpita Mukhopadhyay, has no connection with the Trinamool Congress. So, the Trinamool Congress is clearly stating that Arpita Mukherjee has nothing to do with Trinamool Congress and the money has nothing to do with Trinamool Congress. So, Partha Chatterjee, he is a very close aide to Mamata Banerjee, but right now Trinamool Congress is clearly divided into two fractions, and as I was speaking, right now Trinamool Congress already made their point clear, and it just a matter of fact, it will be clear in a few hours that any stern steps against Partha Chatterjee will be taken or not. But in one faction is demanding that the stern steps should be taken against Partha Chatterjee. But on the other hand, some of the Trinamool Congress leaders are saying that no steps should be taken against Partha Chatterjee, as the BJP will get another point to raise their voice against the Trinamool Congress. Shravan.
One quick question that I would also like to ask you, Bhaskar, with regards to a serious charge that has now been levelled against Partha, this time by the Enforcement Directorate with regards to manipulation in the medical records. There are also reports being suggested that in the past also when senior Trinamool Congress leaders were called in for questioning by the central agencies, they've essentially taken the refuge of one particular hospital. Is there anything more that you're really picking up?
Yes, absolutely. Today in Calcutta High Court, Enforcement Directorate officials, Enforcement Directorate lawyers said to Calcutta High Court that they can take Partha Chatterjee through air ambulance into Bhubaneswar, and they will get him checked up and they will produce him tomorrow in PMLA in Kolkata. But the Enforcement Directorate officers, what they said, it's huge, it's massive. They said that in SSKM hospital, they were threatened. And SSKM hospital, you know, as the state government demands that SSKM hospital is the state's highest numbered government hospital, and in SSKM hospital, the treatment is pretty well. But the claim made by the Enforcement Directorate officials is really massive. And on the other hand, it's absolutely true, Shravan, that in SSKM hospital, many Trinamool leaders were admitted in Woodburn block and in other blocks. And after the Calcutta High Court asked Enforcement Directorate to produce the medical certificate, Enforcement Directorate officials submitted ESI Joka's medical certificate where Partha Chatterjee was declared fit. But on the yesterday, after
Right.
Partha Chatterjee was produced before the special court in Bankshal court, he was taken into SSKM hospital and he was admitted in the ICCU. Shravan.
Thank you very much, Bhaskar, as well as Priyanka, for getting us full details of a story that we've been tracking very closely. Trust you to keep us ahead on it.